The wisdom of Socrates. Lessons from the father of philosophy. He never wrote a single book. He didn't build monuments or lead armies. Yet, over 2,000 years later, his name still echoes through history. Socrates, the father of philosophy, lived his life asking questions, seeking truth, and challenging what others simply accepted. His wisdom shaped civilizations. But even today, it speaks directly to you and me, in our thoughts, our choices, and our way of life. At the heart of everything he taught was a single, powerful idea. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. It's humbling, isn't it? We often spend our lives trying to prove what we know, to seem smart, certain, right? But Socrates reminds us, the wisest people are the ones who admit they still have more to learn. Knowledge isn't about ego, it's about humility. Because only when we let go of the illusion of knowing, do we become open to truth. From that place of humility comes one of Socrates' greatest gifts to the world, the art of questioning. He believed that the best way to grow wasn't through lectures, but through dialogue, through asking, listening, reflecting. He would walk the streets of Athens and ask simple, piercing questions, not to embarrass others, but to awaken them. And it was through those questions that he uncovered deeper truths about justice, courage, virtue, and life. He taught us this: an unexamined life is not worth living. It's one of his most famous teachings, and one of the most challenging, because it asks us to pause and look within, to not simply exist, but to reflect, to not just follow the crowd, but to ask, why am I doing this? What do I believe? Am I living in line with my values? To examine your life is to live it with intention, and in doing so, you begin to realize something profound. That real strength isn't in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. Socrates believed in the power of virtue, not as a religious command, but as a way of life. He said, the greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. How often do we wear masks to fit in? How often do we say what sounds good, while doing the opposite in private? Socrates challenges us. Let your actions and your words match. Be real. Be consistent. Live in such a way that who you are in the light and who you are in the dark are the same. And that requires courage, because truth isn't always comfortable, and wisdom often comes with a cost. Socrates himself paid the ultimate price for speaking truth. He was sentenced to death, not for violence, but for corrupting the youth with his ideas. Still, he faced his fate calmly, saying, "To fear death, gentlemen, is no other than to think oneself wise when one is not, to think one knows what one does not know." Even in his final moments, Socrates taught us, fear comes from pretending we know what lies ahead. But wisdom accepts uncertainty and chooses to live with honor, even in the unknown. And that's perhaps the most powerful part of Socratic wisdom. It calls us not just to think better, but to live better. He said, "Be slow to fall into friendship, but when thou art in, continue firm and constant." To Socrates, life was about relationships, about truth, virtue, and loyalty. Not fame, not power, not possessions. The good life he taught isn't found in riches, it's found in the soul. So how do we honor Socrates today? Not by memorizing his quotes, but by living his questions, by pausing to reflect, by speaking honestly, by growing humbly, and by walking through life not with certainty, but with curiosity and courage. Socrates once said, "I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." And maybe that's the most powerful wisdom of all. Because if you think differently, you begin to live differently. And if you live differently, you just might change the world. Inspired by this ancient wisdom? Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Keep questioning, keep reflecting, and always seek truth.